Oh, what's up, guys? It's Songers. You know me for, console stuff and typically tier list help out the console guys because it's where the vast majority of the player base plays. And today it's going to be just my opinions on a quality of life and how to move forward with For Honor in this beautiful game.
Honestly, dude, For Honor is one of those, it's so unique. It's a fighting game and it's also a team fighting game. It's so freaking good. And there's nothing like it. There's not one game you can point to and be like, oh yeah, it's For Honor. Maybe like Chivalry, but not even, dude. It's not as in-depth. It's so good. There's so many learning curves. It rewards you. The more you learn, the more you think about it, and the more you play, and it's just great.
And I believe in this game, and this is why I think this video, why I'm making this video. This is for my thoughts, because I think I provide a unique perspective as a console-first guy. Decently, high level of knowledge.
And I'm a read-based player, which means that I cannot parry light attacks on red. All these clips that you're seeing, they're all reads. Anyone that was on high MMR on Xbox can verify this because they've played against me and they know this to be true.
Talk about reaction pairing to lights. But anyway, so I'm going to talk about some of the big differences between PC, console, and my opinions on how to move forward with either For Honor in its current state and growing the game, or its spiritual successor, right? Because that's always the thing. And Ubisoft has a Star Wars license, and they could make a basically Star Wars wrapped For Honor game, and that would immediately fly off the shelves. And I've been saying this: if For Honor dropped at any point after CCU on release, it would be absolutely massive, but it didn't, and this is where we're at now. So I mean, why should you believe me? Well, okay, so I'm top 10 for wins all time on console, and that's only in 2.5 years. I've been a Grandmaster top 100 in duels for the last, I believe, 10 seasons, and currently right now I'm ranked 17th. Here's the picture of that my friend did there. I don't have my console anymore, so I couldn't pull it up myself. I ran a comp team that on Xbox that did pretty well for Xbox. We got second, third, fourth for Dominion, our best team. Okay, so I got an all right understanding. I'm not the best. I'm not some For Honor freaking god of nature or whatever, but I got a good understanding.
My understanding from PC comes from just simply asking PC players, high level ones at that. So for these clip qualities, especially on the Force, sometimes I'm playing with my casual guys. Or in between, like most of the guys that I played with, we knew how to do bash for heavy ganks and basically small ganks that confirm 2 or 3 heavies for each
kind of
other.
2 concepts: the bottleneck effect, which is taken kind of from manufacturing and business sense, and then barriers to entry. Is at the end of the day, you do want For Honor to be profitable as an esport, right? So think about basketball, right? The average height of American male is about 5'9", and they're 200 pounds, right? Look at the number 1 team right now in the league, Golden State. Their shortest guy, definitely above every. We all know basketball players are tall, right? So you need to be very tall to be a good basketball player in most cases, right? And then stuff like this, like your height, your athleticism, training background, all this. This kind of goes in and deals with barriers to entry to a specific sport. Places and programs that have greater coaching, teaching, and their players learn fundamentals, they learn the concepts of the game, whatnot, have a higher advantage of those who don't. That's why you see a lot of prep schools. Maybe these kids don't have the best athletes per se, a lot of super rich and wealthy, kids, but they have the best training hands down. And then because of that, they attract and can recruit other, great athletes and whatnot. That sort of concept. But there's so many things that go in: skill, height, weight, training, coaching, etc. So let's talk about the barriers to entry to For Honor, because as it is in the top level, specifically in I think there's a fundamental problem with For Honor, and that is it's associated with risk in the game. So at the highest level, which is PC, duels are not a competitive game mode, and that is a popular opinion because it's true. The reason for this is there is a population of players that have reaction times that allow them to consistently react to things like Parry Flash. And if you can do stuff like that, you can start to react to other things. The differentiation between the light and the heavy, unblockables, bashes, like on the orange, reacting, right? Just simply reacting to it, right? Obviously, there's also game knowledge. You need to know the game super well and matchups and whatnot. Character choice, because matchups, it's a fighting game, so certain characters will always be more advantaged, or certain matchups will be relatively even, right? Et cetera, et cetera.
But those are kind of the three biggest things. Also, obviously, your setup and whatnot. But we're just, for the sake of example, we're just going to consider that the setups are equal. So I'm going to show you a clip of someone reacting to Parry Flash on PC, and because a lot of people on console don't know or have never seen it before. Sorry for the quality. Nothing I can control. But watch him. Every time he feints a heavy, he does not bite on it. The times that he does throw, he parries them. You can see that right there. Nothing he can do. He throws one light and it's insta-parry. Because he can also tell the difference and react to the difference between a light and heavy. So this right here is what in 1v1s why it's not competitive is because there is no risk at the highest level. You just have to sit there and react, and if you have better reactions and the same knowledge and the same character, the guy with the better reactions will almost always win. And that's just how it is. So it is not competitive in essence. However, there is a lot of people that play on console, and it is not how this works on console at all. There is risk in 1v1. Obviously, people who have high reactions are advantaged. That bottleneck, that barrier to excellence, if you will, is not reacting to Parry Flash. It's not possible. It's inconsistent at best on console. That barrier to entry, I believe, is the ability to parry light attacks on red. If you can do that, you have a massive advantage over your opponent.
But honestly, reaction time, more than that, like, it of course gives you a little bit of advantage. But I think Reed's game knowledge, and as long as the character matchups are somewhat relatively even, I think Reed's is the most important thing in the game on console.
For this, I'm gonna break it down from a mechanic standpoint on the game, and I'll also break it down.
I'm breaking it down because I have a document that I've been running or keeping for 1.5 years since I became a Grandmaster, May 5th of 2020, of my record into everybody that I thought was good. This document will be listed. You can get the link if you want it from me. And it goes into detail about how it was procured, the system and methods, as well as verification for the records as well.
My reactions are very bad for top level MMR, and so just because of that, there's really no reason I should ever be winning, any of these games. X on red. Sometimes I cannot really block.
The exact number in MS is around 195, which I improved from 230 around 2 years ago, so 35 MS. I have been shown to get up to 185 when I'm very on my game as well.
It's an Asus monitor, as well as a wired controller and whatnot, and my internet is stable. It's around 30 ping-ish. It doesn't really spike and whatnot.
So that's, I do have a very good setup.
I still cannot parry light attacks on red on reaction. It is super rare if it does happen. It's in a moment of extreme hyper focus. I can probably count 2 hands on if this happened in the course of my front.
But either way, with my reaction time being as bad as it is, there's not that many people that have as bad as me. So basically every time I go into a duel or something, I have a worse reaction time than almost everybody on the team.
And I'm not saying I win every game, but I don't lose every game either.
It must be from character choice, it must be from game knowledge, and it must be from reads, because those are the only things, offensive and defensive reads, because reaction is simply not a part of it. So the reason for this and why 30 frame players can even exist at top level is because at the end of the day, offensive reads rule console. What I mean by this, stuff like variably timed bash, think of a Warlord, Conk, Shigoki, Black Prior, those types of bashes. They're not reactable. Unblockables are not reactable. Nuxia's Trap is not reactable. And for, I think, almost every single person on console, there might be a few. But 400 MS light attacks are not reactable either. So we're taking Tiandi Chain Light, Nuxia Chain Light, Highlander Offensive Stance Light.
And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean about these certain moves having viability, specifically the headbutt from Warlord. And I will be playing against an extremely good player, Vulture. He's got a YouTube channel. He's a phenomenal player. So fading between lights and heavies because he can light parry, and so you can catch him on that. He's trying to bait out these lights so he can get a light parry, so I just go for the headbutt. He dodged the red on light timing. I dodge forward. I go for a trade there because I just didn't want to have to deal with all the options there. Now, headbutt mix-up twice in a row. No, he's going to light. Dash forward heavy to take frame into what? Into what? A headbutt mix-up. The whole reason that entire clip works is because the headbutt is an actual threat. On PC, he would have just simply reacted to that, and I would have gotten fucked. And I also chose the headbutt because I knew he was going to light. Can't parry that bitch. So he can backlight or normal light. And so the headbutt covered both options and gave me frame.
At the end of the day, like, you have to make reads on console. And so there's risk. Where there's risk,
There is skill. And there is skill.
but you can see how having bashes that actually have a high hit rate on people because they're, not fucking reactable, can benefit the game. You can actually utilize full moveset. Dash forward heavy, you're never going to do that on a top level duelist. On PC, it will never happen. There's no need for it. But on console, there is. That's where skill lies, man. So we can do changes, though. I believe that this is like better for Honor. If we want more people playing this game, and there's about to be $1,000 brawl tournament. It's actually going to be more. The winners get $1,000 brawl tournament on the Xbox. This is a real potential for an esport, guys. We have to start taking this seriously. This game has doubled since the massive dip in player base during season. I can't remember what season. I wasn't playing around back then, but we lost 95% of our player base, and we have now doubled that since that loss. Because it's a fucking good game. If Ubisoft didn't absolutely just take the most heaping pile of shit of a release and defecate all over the virtual floor, we would be having 60,000+ people a day playing this video game, if not more. I think this is the potential to be the greatest fighting game of all time. You cannot tell me that if For Honor was released in any state after CCU on release, that it wouldn't be at a minimum larger than it is now, right? That is undeniable. We can all agree that For Honor now is better than For Honor release. That is undeniable. But before, I'm suggesting a shift towards to make it more like console, right? I'm going to talk about the pros of PC current gameplay. Because of the nature that duels is not competitive, you cannot count on any damage in a duel. And you just watch Clutch's stream, watch high-level players play fours. You'll see this to be true. They have to be perfect on ganks, on team fights, all that stuff. And they got to know all that knowledge. And I'm not taking that away. I think that is extremely skillful. I think that is incredible. Whenever I see them play, Nemesis, a phenomenal team, or teams like it, it's extremely impressive. However, you have to think about the opportunity cost here. Opportunity cost is the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. Essentially, what I'm saying is, if we keep For Honor in current state, where the highest level PC has this requisite to be able to react at a ridiculously high level, to be a high level player, and certainly a high level duelist at the minimum, right? You're going to have less people playing your game just on pure statistics. And here's what I mean by this. So I'm just going to go over the pros of what I'm about to propose. Okay, so pros: cross-platform play with legitimate competition. So
Now, PC, it seems like we'll always have an advantage. I'll talk about more of the nuts and bolts of how it works either on, but even if you can't make it perfectly even by capping frame rate and other stuff you can control, you can make it a lot more competitive than it ever would have been. And if you can't, you can still make top level more competitive and enjoyable.
Frame rate. And I would think you should cap it at 60, 45, or 30. Cross-platform play. That would be phenomenal for the growth of the game, and it would be actual legitimate cross-platform. Actual competition in the 1v1 game mode, because what I just explained, offensive reads, and just the ability that if someone has a faster reaction time than you and equal knowledge of you, they don't automatically win because you actually have tools in your tool set to open them up. And consistently, not, I can react to this, or I reacted to it that time, so now I gotta read. No, like every time you're making a read. Lower barrier to entry to the high level means that it opens up for more players to play the game, because they go, oh, you know what? I can do that. I want to go and do that. I like this game. This game seems fun. Right? And I'm just going to break down the statistics.
average human reaction time, 250 ms, okay? Visual stimuli. To react to Parry Flash, you have to be a freak, and it's around, from what I've understood, the 130s, like mid 130 range. So you are a freak, top 0.1% of reaction times.
And unfortunately, the vast majority of people will never be able to train to get to that point.
Statistics show that you can drop your reaction time. Average person can drop their reaction time about 50 ms to visual stimulus, okay? Which means that the average person's max cap potential will be 200 ms. That's around blocking lights with relative consistency on console. That's around what mine are, okay? So you can kind of block, right?
And I'm not saying I was a phenomenal player, but I was far above average, right? When I was able to do, I knew ganks and whatnot and had a decent competency on fours. I wasn't anything crazy, but I was able to play at top level.
So we'd be looking at 225 ms for those people to drop down. I believe it's around 180 ms to parry light attacks on red on console, 60 frames in a monitor, which means that 225 which that's like 2/5 of people. Like that's the top 2/5 of people. So 2 out of 5 guys can potentially play your game at a high enough level to excel and hit those prerequisites and be a professional player if they wanted to. If they grind, diet, exercise, all that sort of stuff. You can drop it around 50 ms, which means if you got around 225, which is a lot of people, you can get down to 180 and you can be a good, legitimate, competitive player. Because at the end of the day, you do have to have some competency In 1v1s to be a good competitive force player.
You can't get shit on immediately whenever someone pulls up because your reaction times are that bad, right? Yeah. Now let's talk about the cons of doing this. In my opinion, you're going to lose some of the depth from fours by dropping this reactability and capping frame rate essentially across all platforms. To me, I think it's one thing. Because I talked about how you can't count on damage in duels to win a game in a 4v4, especially on PC. You need to be perfect on everything. You still need high level execution of fours, concepts, knowledge, ganks, whatever, right?
On console, 4s and 2s at the high level, you need to have all those things as well.
People that go from console to PC, and whatnot, and back and forth, and they're great players. But I think losing that tippy top perfection of fours versus, we're talking massive growth in potential player base. We're talking potentially duels as a competitive game mode. We're talking cross-platform and legitimate competition. To me, it just seems like the pros just so massively outweigh the cons, and it's almost a no-brainer. I hope you heard this breakdown. I took my time with it. I got my stats with it about how the mechanics and stuff works. On console, showed some examples.
As well, I will have that document with the records and procurement and whatnot. So that's my receipts there, and please check that out.
I have an Instagram page as well, so you can see a lot of read-based gameplay there, high-level read-based gameplay.
So where I have this idea. I'm like, we can make this game really big. Well, let's look at the player count 2020. This is during COVID, so a lot of people were playing video games. Fucking almost 800,000 people logged in and played multiplayer in For Honor.
165,000 were on PC. If you look right now, the most concurrent high we got was about 6,500.
Right, and it's probably even lower on PC because of all the shit I've been continuing to talk about, right? But let's say it's a perfect distribution, and the 3.9% retention rate falls along the line of PlayStation and Xbox. Well, then you get about 14,500 players on PlayStation. You get almost 10,000 players on Xbox. Now, I had to speculate fucking stats because For Honor doesn't fucking tell you how many people play on console for some dumbass reason. The only thing I could find was this that said between 4,000 and 6,000 people played concurrently on all devices, and 3,000 of those were on Steam, which means that there would be 1 to 3K for the other two consoles combined. And based on these fucking numbers, that's got to be the dumbest shit I think I've ever heard. Everybody knows that console has more people. Also, if we just look at YouTube stats as well. So we're looking at some of the top contributors. We got John, we got Barrick, we got Havoc. If you look, their top grossing video as of recently is around 30 to 20K, which is around the same number of concurrent players across all platforms per my estimation. Players, right?
which you get by having a higher retention rate, equals, more money. You can have a fucking esport, more money for content creators, right? And guess what? We have a 4-year head start. And reaction freaks that go, oh no, my Parry Flash on red, I can't react everything. You still have a massive advantage if it becomes console-esque. Right?
Essentially, the identity of a reaction-based fighting game is still intact, and you still have massive advantages.
I'm just gonna show you what I'm talking about. This guy right here, Asnori, dude. This fucking edit. This man is on 30 fucking frames, and he's reacting to shit that I can't on a box and a.
Chain lights, we're looking at, that's a Tiandi light. That's not reactable, probably. He probably made a read on that. These are just dodge attacks. That's a neutral 500 ms, so on 30 frames, he's reacting to that. I can't do that on a console, and there's a lot of people who can't. Neutral 500 ms. This is a neutral 500. No, chain 500 ms. Neutral 500 ms. So the reaction time to do this, conservatively, a very conservative estimate, 150 ms. Okay. By those metrics, this puts him within the threshold of being able to react.
Let me tell you what happened on PC. I'd get shit on. Let me tell you what happened on console when we were both on 30 frames. He's got a rep 70 Warden, by the way.
About that, it's not just an easy, reaction upon the whiff. You have to be disciplined. And Perez Norin, at this point, his entire playstyle is react to everything, and then option select everything that you can't react to.
Now listen, this isn't the dog on the guy. This is just to show. This would be fucking impossible. Impossible on PC. If it would not even happen. Okay? On console, I 3-0'd him with his own main. Right? I'm not saying that this guy's ass or anything. He's actually really, really fucking good. Plus,
that clip was taken a very long time ago. People improve. He didn't really practice or use any sort of reads at that point in time. He was just all reaction, and that's why I was able to beat him, because I kind of knew how he was going to play.
is because if we do that fucking matchup on PC, the only offense I have is the shoulder bash, and specifically like the level 1 / like level 3. You have to be very precise about the timings and once you do things. I could actually do shit. You could actually use your moveset, and he still has a big advantage. He can parry lights on red, man. He almost parried the one light I threw. In the thing, you can see it. He barely misses the parry window. And this exact sort of thing is why it needs to be more like console in the way of reactability. I guarantee you're going to get a higher retention rate if you make it more console-esque, if you make it harder to react to things. It can still be reaction-based. You can still have things like fundamentals, like have a population of people that can parry light attacks. That's an automatic advantage, right? Automatic advantage. But it's not the be-all, end-all. People that don't have those reactions can grind, learn matchups, learn tips and tricks and shit. And they get there and they freaking will their way into that shit, man. That's what I fucking did, dude. I loved it. Also, every single time I get a light parry, there's about a 5-frame description of how I did it and the reads and the processes that I did to get those light parries. So, if you want to go back and you can read them for yourself. So they'll be there. So you can, I'll walk you through my thought process and what I did. But you're like, oh, Songers, you're so focused on ones. Yeah, I fucking am. It's a fucking fighting game. And at the top level, ones aren't fucking competitive. And let me tell you, if you're a top level force guy, you better be able to hold your own in a 1v1 or at least not get shit up, right? So 1v1s at the end of the day is an integral part of the game. And it will carry through and bleed through into everything Force related. And let me tell you, having just a bunch of super freaks play a game that I literally can't even begin to play, like, yeah, I appreciate what they're doing for the perfection of like frame perfectness that it is, but there's something a little off about the ability that I will never be able to do that. And I'm fine with that to an extent. But when I see myself crapping on a guy who's very good, who has very good reactions on console, and I know I wouldn't have a candle's chance in a windstorm. I am an anime mom with a side ponytail trying to make it past season 1 of the fucking anime. Listen, dude, like, at the end of the day, if I fight that guy in PC, he's gonna react to the inhale and parry my exhale, dude. I don't know what to tell you. So I mean, capping frame rate, possibly another CCU,
And the measurement, the metric that you would get to get that, and you can get it very precise, is you just take people that can react to Parry Flash and update the speeds until they fucking can't, bro. Or adjust your game so that Parry Flash like isn't a thing. Like there's no reason that there should be a tell for something like that that's reactable. Either take Parry Flash out of the game. I mean, this whole argument has been trying to make console equal to PC, and like let's say it just can't happen. At least make PC top level not fundamentally broken. Okay, let's drop it to what console is now. Is what I'm saying.
Another thing I'm gonna address is the Marco Yolo video talking about how frames don't affect attack speed, which is true. However,
Right, we're
there's
talking
a
about
practical attack speed or reactability of different types of delays and whatnot
between the two systems. Saying it's a lot to deal with. The speed of the attacks don't change.
This is true. However, say we have a 500 ms attack, right? And little Johnny has his Xbox and his PC right by his desk. Okay, so little Johnny's got the same internet there. He's got the same 1 ms refresh rate monitor, right? The only difference is the PC and let's say the Xbox. So he's gonna plug in his wired mouse, and it's gonna have a little less input delay than the wired controller. I don't know what that actual number is. Let's say it's, I don't know, 5, 10 ms. I don't know. But just looking at it, it's really hard to tell if there's maybe they're missing something else. Is there another variable? And the argument that that the speed stays the same is irrelevant. It's the variables that affect your ability to react to the constant, which is the attack speed. And to react to visual stimuli, your eyes need to relay information back to your brain into your body.
Right? If a raider does a max delay stunning tap, it's the same speed it is on PC as it is on console. Yes, they can see maybe a little bit more of the attack. Yes, they can see maybe a little bit more of the attack. Yes, they can see maybe a little bit more of the attack.
So, I really don't need to explain, but I will. So, when everybody got old box, when CCU happened and we were all on old box, it was really crazy. Like, there was only a handful of people that could parry lights. There was like so many people that used to be able to parry lights, and then they just couldn't. And then they changed literally nothing else about their setup except a new box. And just humor me. What's the major difference between? Oh, that was the difference between old and okay. Gotcha. No, you guys were right. Like, we could all parry lights back on old box, and we just, as a group, like as a unit, everybody that was like top level on Xbox. I don't know about PlayStation because I didn't see PlayStation, but everybody on Xbox just decided we are not going to parry lights. I see you. I know you wanna, but don't do.
At the end of the day, the frames aren't going to be able to save us console plebes from those inherent issues that are baked in, and mainly the input lag.
Okay, so there is a difference in practical speed or reactability, if you will, between PC or console because of input lag. Okay, good to know. Okay, I'm on the same page.
Like, if I had the choice between getting 60 frames versus getting the input lag solution fix and maybe getting some field of view sliders, I think I would lean more towards the input lag fix.
So, here's what we have. Frame rate is something that we can control. The input lag, I don't know. Maybe you can get, you can like mod your Xbox to get a, keyboard and mouse and whatever. Maybe you can get other controllers and shit and your fucking Xbox and shit. And maybe you can equalize it, right? And if it gets to, comp level and all that shit, you probably will do that, right? So it's not going to change, and the vast majority of console players won't do that until, Xbox itself figures out their shit or whatever. But, there's at least somewhat of maybe a solution there. So that's one problem, right? So that is something that can be fixed later down the line, but not right And that's for the majority of people. There might even be a way that you can do it, right? But the field of view slider is not something that causes delay or a difference in practical speed or a difference in reactability, if you will. Yes, it does definitely help in 2s and 4s, and it sounds like something that's largely cosmetic and can be added with relative ease. It just seems that it just hasn't been added for whatever reason. Maybe there's not enough, asking for it or whatnot, but that sounds like something we could do. Maybe we can't do it, and it's got to be in the spiritual successor, though.
So for that Star Wars game, we got a field of view thing, and we got to figure out the wire delay. That is very doable. I think you got a lot of years before that, or figure out add-ons and whatnot in the industry, right? But the one thing that we actually can't control is frame rate. We can raise or drop it. Xbox Series X can go up to 120 frames if it needs to. However, based on what I've said in the video, I believe that the correct direction would be to make reacting harder, thus more skill gap, thus reaction time has less of the slice of the pie and importance at the top level for accessibility's sake. So this is all in the name of accessibility and higher player count and a higher quality of game, just overall. I'm going to put you in the seat of what I mean by a true
Competitive Duelist on console and what that looks like. Competitive duels.
phenomenal reactions. Watch him right here. And look, he goes into unblockables that they have to make actual reads on. It puts a sense of presence and danger into the actual thing. There's so much more tension. Imagine if you're a PC player that can react to it, that you fucking can't. That is so terrifying. Yeah, you can parry these light. You can do all the shit that he's doing right now. Like just deflect a storm rush, whatnot. But at the end of the day, you cannot react to that unblockable. Right? You can't do it. You gotta make a choice. That's also why we should have zone option selects back in the game. We just need one. And charged heavy and zone select are the least cheesy and cost the most risk to the user. Because once again, it's about risk. So when we had bash select, GB select, email select, guard switch select, they took away risk at a ridiculous rate. So if you do have an option select, it needs to have risk involved in it. Because that was precisely the problem on consoles, that the only viable offense, because of all those option selects, was just bashes. That was it. And on PC, you didn't even have bashes to a certain extent, right? So you might want to, I'm just saying, risk is always the play to go. It just makes the game more fun, and it's more skillful for both sides.
In fact, I believe so much in this philosophy of risk that when I found out about the option selects, the only option selects I ever used, post Jarl days was the zone option select, because I believe they were too broken to be used. And I believe that they weren't supposed to be in the game. I found, that it wasn't within the spirit of the game, and then it turns out about a year later I was right. So.
And I mean, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always down to talk. I fucking love For Honor, man. This is one of the most favorite things I've ever done. Made a lot of good friends off this game, man. I have a lot of happy memories of it. A lot of angry memories too. And we all play this game, right? But I just think this game could be a lot better. And I'm just another example of, unfortunately, it's balanced around this top level. The PC right now, which you're supposed to balance on the highest level. I'm just
Providing a different perspective, and one that isn't really heard in this community of the console player. And so I just wanted to give
What high level could be, a better alternative.
And if you can standardize stuff like frame rate, and you can give people stuff like field of view, and you can add option selects to add depth back to the game, as long as you're keeping risk with it, then these problems where we're balancing around essentially two separate games, and we get one that's like decent in PC highest level, right, and the other one is absolutely broken, that stuff stops happening. It stops happening because it's the same game. PC and console For Honor are different games, and that's what this whole thing is about. And I think at the end of the day, if you want to go forward in the future, you got to take more of the console things, man.
Let's do switch. We're gonna just do a basic quality of life things that will make For Honor easier and better for everybody.
If you're playing on your rep 70, there should be a running like XP counter, and you can put it towards any character you want. I think that would be good. Or you'd increase rep, make it unlimited rep cap on a character, make it like rep 100 or something like that. Another thing is, let's fix queue times. There's no reason that the population of the high level players on PC and Xbox, and I assume PlayStation, I don't know for sure, can't find games because their MMR is too high. Absurd. You should prioritize people playing the game over a matchmaking system, and the fact that matchmaking takes that long, especially on PC, is precisely the root of a lot of the problems. There's no reason that one guy who can just react to Parry Flash can solo a lobby full of randoms, you know. Maybe add custom matches, the ability to do custom matches while in queue. Practice your games, get some 1v1s in against the boys, you know, it'd be fun. And, you know, that's what it seems like you want anyway, in the direction that you're going, with a PC first, so fours base, you know, so let them play fours and let them practice if they're going to be in the queue. Add breach maps to 2v2 and 1v1, like parts of breach maps, you can do that, you know what I'm talking about, like maybe, you know, part of zone 4, 5, 6, whatever, you know what I'm saying. There's free maps right there because we need more maps. Make a new Dominion map, for Christ's sakes. Sanctuary Bridge is fucking boring. I hate Sanctuary Bridge so fucking much. That map is so fucking boring. There's no reason it should take you like 30 seconds to get back into the action, just of pure running, you know, like absolutely so stupid. Get rid of that map is so fucking boring. I get that it's balanced, but it's so fucking boring. Yeah, sorry, I just went on the anti-Sanctuary Ridge rant for a little bit there. Get rid of Tribute. No one plays it. Replace it with Icebreakers or like Carousel of Death or one of those limited time game modes that was actually popular. Let's do that. No one plays Tribute. It's a garbage game mode. Or rework Tribute. Yeah. Add a bug report system that you actually look at, because Barrick's recent video of him losing a shit ton of SR has been happening all across console. It's just it kind of resets itself if you just play enough ranked games, and you'll get your actual SR back, but it's really fucking annoying, and there's a lot of bugs specifically in ranked anyway. But a bug report system that is monitored, and if you could have the ability to share a video with it, that would be excellent as well. This is about a direction. This is about a goal. This is about getting For Honor to the future. Like, don't think of this. I care about this game so much. I love this game so much. I want to see it grow. And this is the honest thing. And another thing is, unfortunately, just because you guys, you know, are the devs, you're going to be in the brunt of a lot of this, right? And whatnot. But we see the effort, man. CCU was huge, taking away the option selects. They were totally cheese. You know, events with their games, just putting effort in. Add new colors, character specific executions are back. Just the effort is there. Rework, still getting new characters. The game is still slowly growing. It's really cool to see, you know, this much, you know, a decent amount of work on a game this old that's this small. But I think it's because that team has been putting in a lot of work, and, you know, it's been making the game better overall. I think this could be one of the greatest games of all time. You know, if you follow that blueprint, you guys already have a great blueprint with For Honor. Just, it's not even that much. It's literally just a couple little tweaks. You know, it's really not that much, and it changes so much. It changes so many of the problems, man. Yeah. So I can't play For Honor anymore. I don't got the time for it anymore, man. I had 2.5 years of playing this game, and I've got to focus on myself at this point. So this is it for me. So I just like to say some thank yous. I'm going to say thank you to Dez,
Musculus, Braden, appreciate you guys for your help with this video.
And Holden, really means a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
You know, it was really fun 2.5 years, honestly. And also shout out Apple, Rowan, Hammer, Cannabis, and Dale.
Ben, Watch Me Reverse, and Holden. You know, you guys, I really appreciate all you guys. You know, between everybody.
You just probably spent the most time with playing the game. Just really appreciate it. Grind, talks, laughing, you know, getting pissed at the game, everything. Man, it was fun time. So appreciate it.
And thank you for everybody that watched the video to the end. I really appreciate it. I just want to see this game grow. I just want to see this game be great, and it's on an upward trajectory. But I think this can lead to exponential growth, which is why I'm recommending it. If you disagree with me or you have some criticism, I'm always open. You know where my plugs are at and how to reach me. So let's do it. I will probably be best to be reached out to on Instagram. I will read the YouTube comments, but it'll just probably be quicker on that. Yeah, guys, just keep enjoying this great game that we've got. You guys have a good one. Peace out, gentlemen.